Hi everyone, before we get going, and don't worry, we've got a great show coming up today. I wanted to speak to you a little bit about money, because this stuff is not free to make for us. So we're asking for a little bit of help. Now, don't feel like you have to, but if you want to, you can come and be a Patreon. We are now on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/RailStuff and you can contribute as much or as little as you want. And there's some different benefits available for those of you that do. Anyway, that's enough about that kind of awkward stuff. Let's get on with the show. Well, welcome back to the second episode of RAILpeople for 2023. And last episode was fascinating, talking to Dave from Bunter's Yard about weathering and everything that he's got going on this year. But obviously, in between the last episode and this one, there's been a few big shows. And one of them was Alexandra Palace, where I got chatting to our next guest. And we had a chat about maybe coming on and talking about all things model railway, and especially on the scenic side. And you'll understand why when I introduce him. But introducing today for you, Martyn Rees from WWScenics. Martyn, how are you?
I'm well. Yourself?
I'm not too bad, yeah. I'm still... I think everyone's going to get fed up with me complaining about this, but I'm still getting used to the whole baby sleep routine kind of thing. But... apart from that, I'm surviving.
It happens to us all. I mean, all my kids are growing up and they still give me grief. So you still got to get up early in the morning for them or something like that. So I understand. Yeah, I feel the pain.
Yeah, but it has its good moments as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So look, how's life at WWScenics in 2023?
We had a massive start to 2023. I mean, a week before Christmas, we had the keys for our new building. Yeah, Mark and I purchased a bigger unit. Yeah, I think we're 7,000 square foot now. Where up in the old place, we were sort of sporadic. We were bits here, bits there. We had about 7 units up there. You know what I mean? So we're all under one roof now, which is great. Yeah, you know what I mean? And obviously in there, as we all know, at the retail shop. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why we bought it, because in West Wales, there's no out-and-out model shop. So crazy. So we split the shop in half. We've got half ours, which is WWScenics, and then the other half then is not a railway shop, it's a model shop. Yeah, so we got Pico, obviously. Yeah, we had to have Pico. And we got other bits and pieces, but we've also got plastic kits. We got lots of paint. Yeah, we got wargaming stuff, because of the other company that I've got, WWG, you know what I mean? And it's a massive... I thought there's a lot of railway people down here within Swansea and South Wales, but there's a lot of wargamers. Most people have come through the door so far is wargamers. Crazy.
And I think we'll probably end up talking about wargaming a little bit later on, but the wargaming scene is actually bigger than most of us realise, isn't it?
It's massive. If you think Games Workshop alone, just that company... is a £3 billion company, just that company. And they've signed, as we all know, we signed Henry Cavill, which is Superman, to do, and this was massive. I mean, I know we're talking war games here now, but this is massive for Warhammer. They've released to Amazon their secret of Warhammer, which they would never do before. You know what I mean? And now they're going to make a film out of it and a series. And if they do it right, and it's an 18, because Mark and I read some of the books because we were interested in it. I mean, you know what I mean? And if they do it right, it'll be fantastic. It'll be one of the best films out there, because it is pretty gory. Like, it is pretty, really intense. Yeah, it's really intense. It's weird. So, so like we said, we'll talk about the wargaming thing. We did have a chap coming from Somerset all the way up to come to just to buy some products with WWScenics.
That's a good couple of hours run, really, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what I mean? So fair dues, you know what I mean? And great, you know what I mean? That shows we got a lot of people coming from Cardiff, you know what I mean? Which is about 45 minutes away. Pontypool, that type of thing. There's a lot of people coming down. There's a TV series being released next January they've built this. The modeling, there was two modelers that they're professional modelers, and they model in this. They do sets, but they do in this big layout, and this layout is the main is the main thing for this series. Although there's murder in it, an accidental murder in it, and also blew my mind. You know what I mean? But he came down and I demonstrated the progress layering system to him because he was like, I don't know how we're going to finish off. I've got the buildings, I've got the train, and it's built. It's based on a little town called Astrovera, or a village called Astrovera. No,
I'm glad you said that and not me.
Yeah. Astrogunlice, actually. So Astrovera, we started off in the shop. And so the story that we're going is, I'll tell you about Astrovera in a bit. But Astrogunlice, which is the next village up, and he said, I don't know how to finish the scenery off. So I showed him the starting grass layering system, and he was blown away by it. And they've been back. They spent a fortune. They spent a fortune. There was another story talking about the shop. There was a chap come from Pembroke, which that's a good about hour and a half away.
Yeah, right? Must be easy. Yeah.
And he said, right, I'm going to spend quite a bit of money with you now. And we're like, oh, okay, yeah. He spent £900 on all wargaming stuff, all buildings and stuff like that, right? There's 9 of them around the country, right? They all meet up over Easter, right? They spend about 6-7 days with each other, and they play D&D all weekend, or for that entire time. And they all sort of like chip in through the year, and every year they build a new table and spend £1,000 on it.
Wow!
And now he knows where we are. We once a year we gotta. You know what I mean?
Yeah, roll out the red carpet just before Easter every year. Yeah,
it's crazy, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's mental. I live in a little town called Morriston, which is off Swansea, inside there I never knew, and inside there's a church. There's a couple of special churches in Morriston. To be fair, there's 3. There's the Tabernacle. Wrong factor, but the Tabernacle is the largest tabernacle in the world, apparently. Yeah, in this little village. Anyway, but there's another church further on down the road, and every other Wednesday there's an elite club that meet, a plastic kits elite club that meet, and some of these modelers in there, some of the best modelers in Britain. They're phenomenal, and they like, oh my god, there's a shop just down the road from us now that sells the stuff that they want. Like, you know what I mean? So, and we never knew that, and we've been going 11 years. Yeah. And because we never had that shop, and we've never had that customer interaction around here, we didn't know this. I didn't know that. I'm literally live about 2 minutes away from it. Crazy.
It's amazing how much stuff there is that we don't know about. Because I had a similar experience with RailStuff. Like, I had a phone call one day that was from a local phone number, and I thought, well, who's that going to be? And I answered the phone, and he said, oh, we're from the local plastic modelling kit group. I didn't even know there was one. There's a thriving community of them that get together in a community centre, and they build plastic kits, and they paint and weather them and do a fantastic job. So yeah, it is amazing how little we know. But you know, I suppose on the wargaming side of things, is that where WWScenics started? Is that like the base of it, or what's the story?
So the story is a really heartwarming story, to be fair to it. So Mark, he doesn't shy away from it. Mark had cancer, in the nodes up here, right? Okay.
So just for anyone else, Mark is like the co-founder along with you, right?
Co-founder, He's the equal business partner to myself, co-founder. Yeah, what he did to it, I'm not sure, but he's not heard of it, me. So no, he works his little socks off, to be fair to him. But yeah, Mark, and through his recovery, he texted me one day and said, have you ever heard of Warhammer? And I stopped, pulled over because I was driving, texted him back and went, no, but I do believe there's a shop in Swansea. So I said, well, come on, we'll go down Saturday. And he was not well at all. We had to get a chair, and he was on trying to recover from there. It wasn't so much the cancer; it was the medicine that was making him ill. So anyway, so we bought. He made me spend 60 quid. And I didn't have that time. I was working, I can't remember, I was working for the council, so I didn't have a lot of money. He made me spend 60 quid, and we bought this kit. And all we were going to do was like sort of quickly paint it up and just have a game, to play war games, so to help him recover. you know what I mean, to give him a hobby, something to do, and we were both gonna sort of, you know what I mean, do it with each other. So I started painting the goblins in there, right? You know what I mean, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, I'm pretty good here. That's not too bad. You know what I mean? So I painted up a squad, right? We sat down one day then to play this game, and whoosh, didn't have a clue. You know what I mean? The rules book is that thick.
Yeah.
Just for one part.
Yeah.
We were like, not a chance. We're not doing this, right? So I said, look, okay. I said, you build them and I'll paint them. Yeah. And to be fair, I am of a high standard of painting. Yeah. But some of the models, we saw basically the squad. I put the squad onto eBay and we doubled our money off it. And we were like, right, okay, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So we carried on painting, and we started getting bigger models and stuff like that. And some of the models were going for £200-300. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, and to Italy and stuff like that. So if you sell your models to Italy, you know that you're up there as a good painter. You know what I mean. So we classed ourselves as a professional painter. We started a sort of a dummy company called Riska Models. Yeah, you know what I mean. Sort of, I made that just for eBay to say, just so we sounded a little bit more professional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. And then we started doing the bases. Yeah, dressing the bases and stuff. And we soon realized that there was a lack of base material out there. There was, and what was out there, which was Games Workshop stuff and stuff like that, was really, really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to Hobbycraft in Cardiff. We spent £40 each. Yeah, came back, buy, split, sell. Yeah, split it up, put it into little bags, and started creating kits. And that's where War World Limited was born.
Wow.
Now, War, right, and not a lot of people know this, War stands for War Games and Railways. That's what War World Scenics came from. But because of the YouTube I mean, don't like and Google don't like the name War, and Railway guys used to go, oh, your War Games, you know what I mean, we can't get our head around that. We put WWScenics. We came out to WWScenics. That's what we are now. It's WWScenics. We have got another company called War World Gaming, which is our gaming side of it as well, right? Because we've got a lot of gaming stuff, a lot of gaming scenery. But yeah, so we started, and then we were in our garages. We're still part-time, in our garages. I got an integral garage that was straight off the kitchen. And I used to watch Breaking Bad building applicators. And it used to take me an hour to build one applicator. Right, honest to God, it was all by hand, all sanding. Everything. It was a nightmare, right?
Yes.
Then we had a store set up. Mark had a stores in his place, and he used to do what we used to call the piddlies, which was the small bags. Yeah. And I used to do all the big 100-gram bags and stuff like that. I was there at 1 o'clock at night sometimes packing, and we had trade orders, and it started to grow from there. And then one day, Mark said he was retiring from the police because he was a policeman, and he said, "Look, I'm retiring and I want to go full time." I at the time was not well. I had diabetes, and I was on the sick with the council. And we opened a shop up in Stovera, tiny little shop, tiny it really was, and that was the first time that we quit our jobs and we went full time. We were there for 6 months. We were there for a couple of months, and then Pico had to come out. So Steve Haynes from Pico had to come out to visit your shop because they won't sell unless you got a bricks and mortar.
I'm aware, yes.
Yeah, we were aware. And that's the first time they saw us and they saw our range. Yeah, and back then we had a decent sized range, but not as big as we got now. And then we were too small for them. Then it was just Mark and I. We couldn't cope. But the shop was tiny. You know, I mean, it wasn't as big as my garage was bigger. Like, you know, I mean, we just opened a retail shop. But then we soon realized that the demand for WWScenics was higher than the demand for what we were selling online of the other stuff. So we then moved to Pontardawe in a 1,000 square foot. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's where Pico then said, okay, we'll take you on. Yeah, so that's where Pico came on board with us. We've now, like I said, 7,000 square foot, including the shop, and there's about 30 of us working here now. You know what I mean? So
how long has that taken from the sort of first idea to where you are now? What's the that's
about 13 years.
Right.
That was about 13 years where we are now. It is quite a, you know, I mean, we were for about 2-3 years just part-time, Mark and I used to use. We bought ourselves a couple of Xboxes. We went paintballing. You know, what I mean, we weren't spending the money. We weren't putting it back in. It was just, it was a hobby. It's a hobby because we both modelers. That's where we come from, right? About a year into WWScenics, we were approached by a place called Folly Farm, which is Wales' biggest zoo, right? It calls Folly Farm, but it's a big zoo, right? And they wanted us to do. They used to go to outreach. They used to go to schools and stuff like that with all the critters, and then they had to show pictures of the habitat. So they wanted us to create the habitats. So we created in about A3 size, proper, proper 3D modeling, like, you know what I mean. So and we went about 4 or 5, and they were absolutely blown away by it. So they commissioned us then to do a 10-foot model of the savannah, right? Which is now still there. That was about 5-6 years ago. It's still there, under glass in the lion's house.
Oh, wow.
Mark and I, when we done it, Mark and I delivered it, right? He had a bongo, right? We went down in his bongo with this whopping great big model, right? It was in 5 foot, Mark, traveling down the road like this. We're in there. The lions were being delivered that day, right? We had a vet in the area that we were with a friggin' rifle. You know, he said, "Oh, better a lion dies than a human." And we're like, "Oh my god!" We're busy trying to get this model set up and stuff like that. We could hear the lion. Right? It was a male lion it was glass. It was, so you could see into where they were sleeping. But because it was brand new, they had to cover it up because they didn't want the lions to bang into it. If you know what I mean, to think it's nothing there. So they had to have a barrier there. But it was like gaps in there again. We were looking in there, and you could just see this lion looking at you, like, you know what I mean? And then he roared. Oh my god, you could feel it trembling. He was like, "Quick, hurry up, get it done." Wow. So my claim to fame is that I've got a 10-foot model under glass in the lion's house down in Folly Farm. So if we ever visit,
and almost got killed by a lion in the process,
and almost got killed by a lion, or the vet. You know what I mean? So yeah, we've had a few little jobs like that when we're there. I mean, we do. I took a commission job in here. As the bloke come in, he went, "I'm after a pond," and I said, and I showed him the grey pond that we got, and you got to paint it. He said, "Oh, I got to paint it, have I?" I said, "Look, give me a 10 and I'll paint it." So it was my first commission job. Since then, I haven't got time to do it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
You know, when we do the YouTube and you know yourself with the podcast, it's time consuming. You know what I mean? It does.
I guess WWScenics aren't just, it's not just a small operation in a little retail shop anymore. So how many people have you got working for you in total now?
So we got 30 people, roughly around about 30 people working for us now. A couple of part-timers. We got people that sort of work the school hours. We do the school runs. Because we're both family men, so we know, you know what I mean, that we're flexible that way. The height of COVID, we had about 45 people working for us. You know what I mean? But we consistently roughly around between 25 and 30. It is challenging. Yeah, you know what I mean? Our biggest bill is the wage bill, like, and I mean, especially now because of everybody feeling the pinch and stuff like that. But we are maintaining it. I mean, we're worldwide. We ship worldwide. You know what I mean? We're on Amazon. We're on eBay. We started on eBay. That's how Riska Model started, and that's how WWScenics started. Was on, you know what I mean? Was eBay. We grew our business on eBay. Then we went on to Amazon, which supersized us. Yeah. Now we are more focused on our brand. We're pushing our brand a lot more. We got the website. We can start to redevelop the website. We've got a sales manager in. You know, I mean, we've got there is a good infrastructure in there. I mean, we've got laser cutters, we've got 3D printers, we've got PLA 3D printers. Yeah, you know, I mean, we've got something in the pipeline with Pico, which will improve our applicators. You know, I mean, so it's going from strength to strength.
And obviously, you've got some excellent retail partners as well. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah, exactly. Which, you know, I mean, and that's it. I mean, we don't do a lot of retail with a lot of retail customers because of our restriction with Pico. Pico, we're not allowed to go into any shops, which is understandable because we're then competing against ourselves, really, with the Pico. But you guys with the online selling guys and stuff like that, you know, I mean, great. I love that. I love the support. You know what I mean, and the push that we push our products out. I mean, we are regarded as the best on the market, full stop. You know what I mean? So, and I would say that I know, but the feedback we get in is incredible. You know what I mean? Our applicators are by far. You know what I mean? You see them, and they've got to be in nearly every household now. So,
Well, yeah, you do wonder who in the hobby is left to buy them, but actually quite a lot of people. And you know, I mean, obviously from a RailStuff point of view, when I first started the business, I got in touch, and timing wasn't quite right. I was brand new, very green to the whole thing. Excuse the pun. And you know, sort of still figuring out exactly what RailStuff's niche was going to be. I think it was Alexandra Palace last year, so not this year, where I came and actually spoke to you guys and had a sort of hands-on look at some of the stuff that you do, and that's when we talked about it and said, okay, look, let's do something. Let's start small and then work out from there. And one of the best things I did was I took the existing range of static grass that I had, and I'm not going to name any names because I still buy, but not that particular product. And I took one event last year and I just cleared it all out. I went, right, and where it came from was customer feedback. The amount of people that were saying to me, what you want to have in is the WWScenics grass. It is so much better than anything else. And after I'd heard that for about the fourth or fifth time, I thought, okay, that's the direction I want to go in. And it was one of the biggest learnings I had about, it's not just about having the cheapest stuff. It's about having stuff that people want to buy because it's good quality. And, you know, if it costs a bit more, sometimes there's a reason for that. And I brought your range of... So I do the static grass in the 500ml canisters. It just makes sense for my size of business. I have a full range of those at shows. And the micro applicator. And those things have just taken off, particularly at shows. You know, online, I think you guys are probably taking the majority of the sales there, but rightly so. It's your product. But at shows, it is fantastic. So, you know, it comes from customer feedback. People like what you do.
And it's humbling, to be fair. You know, I mean, we're not Mark and I weren't businessmen. We are now. You know, we're learning fast, like, you know what I mean? So, but we weren't. We were just two boys in the Welsh Valley, yeah, you know what I mean, that just saw an opportunity, you know what I mean, and then sort of mixed the color. We saw what was out there from other leading companies, and we thought, that's a load of pants. We can do by far better than that, and our blends are, you know what I mean, and then we introduced the layering system, the ProGrass layering system. We introduced that layering, you know, I mean, technique and the further techniques that I do, that you've seen the demo, and you know, I mean, anybody's seen me at any of the big shows, you know, I mean, the demonstration I do, it's not just a little bit on a card and off you go. It's a full brief from start to finish, like, you know what I mean, and what else you can do with it as well, you know what I mean, and all that together just comes together, you know what I mean, and it's my passion. If anybody's seen my demos, you know what I mean, or see me at shows, I mean, I had people clapping at me in RAILpeople like me, because it's not just, I want people to learn how to do static grass properly, not just buy our products, but to you know what I mean, to do something on their layout and be proud of it and say, oh my God, I did that. I mean, we were at Wally, and there's a chap came, he spoke to me, and I showed him the technique, and he went round somewhere, and he looked at this a layout there, and he could see the technique of what this bloke did with the static grass. And the bloke said to him, yeah, what you do is this, and you get your fingers in and you mush it up and stuff like that. And he said, and he came back round, he said to me, so you taught that bloke what to do, and that bloke's just taught me what to do. He said, so that is phenomenal. And for me, I was like, whoa, I'm chuffed, because somebody learned, you know what I mean? It's not just about buying our products. No, it's the whole package. Mark and I have always said, it's not just about, it's the customer experience. You're a customer for life with us. You're not just a customer that comes along, buys it, and off it goes. Like, you know what I mean? If there's a problem, come back to us, we'll solve it. Yeah, you know what I mean? I've got a technical line, which is basically a Martyn line. You know what I mean? And anybody got any problems, I'll take over and say, look, I'll speak to you about my products, because, you know what I mean, I know them inside out. Mark and I don't buy it in from anywhere and off it goes. We do buy it in, but we make them. They're all handmade here. There's
Yes.
hardly any machinery. There's not a lot of machinery. We've got laser cutters, we've got 3D printers. The rest is all handmade. You know what I mean? And that's why we are staff hungry, because we make it all by hand here in South Wales. You know what I mean? So it is a passion to us. Like, you know what I mean? And we're starting to get a really good team now that will push that passion for us as well. You know what I mean? So,
and obviously I speak to different parts of your team than some of the ordinary customers would. So I'm talking to your trade team, and I have to say, and I'm not just saying this because you're on the podcast right now, but they are great and they're super responsive, and so it's a pleasure to work with you guys. It really is, and I see that there is exciting stuff coming up. I saw on the applicator side, you discontinued a classic the other day, and you've replaced it with something else.
Well, the detail has always been there, right? You know what I mean? But it's down to manufacturing costs. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? The Precision does the exactly same job as what the Precision does. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I feel it's a better tool as well. You know what I mean? So we just sort of like, we were copying for no reason. Yeah, you know what I mean? So we sort of, we cut the Precision, you know what I mean? Purely because the Detailer for me is a better product.
The Detailer is the one with the interchangeable heads, right?
It's the two heads on there as well. Where the Precision, you only get the one. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's probably, the Precision is probably good for diorama modelers, but I still find that the Detailer, in my eyes, the Detailer was a lot better product. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then, you know, you're offering a customer, sometimes you're offering too much. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I've just took the decision to remove the Precision, you know what I mean? And then obviously push the Detailer in its place, because it's a better tool. It will do, you know what I mean? Because it's got that two heads, it'll do a better job for you than what the Precision would do anyway. So I just thought we had overkill, if you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? So we, as a company, and I think when, you know what I mean, if you ever manufacture anything, you will always realize that we just got way too much. Sometimes you need to take that bold decision of just, you know what I mean, like the Mini, you know what I mean, off it goes, you know what I mean. So we retired the Precision, but we got a better product in this place, you know what I mean. So it's just, you've got to, as you know, you've got to look. Basically, I mean, tufts. I mean, we got thousands of tufts, because we just gone overkill, and we start to reduce them now as well. Like, you know what I mean, trying to get a sort of a core range. For what people want, so there's not so much choice on there, like, you know what I mean, because sometimes it's just overload. Like I said, it's a lot of overload,
and it is difficult because, you know, you get somebody come up to, from my point of view, being a small retailer, I get people come up to me at show and somebody will say, "Oh, have you got any plastic sheets of slates?" I say, "Well, no." "Well, why not?" I said, "Well, because I've had them in the past and they didn't sell." And you know, so you've got to play to your strengths and stuff that people want.
It is. You know, I mean, we always get asked of, "Oh, have you got this type of grass? Or have you got this type of product?" When we make it, and we go, "Yeah, we got it back in the HQ." But what do you take? I mean, you saw our stand at RAILpeople, like, I mean, when we had a massive stand there. But again, you know, we only had to take a percentage of what we got. You know, it's what you stock. It's like the shop now, you know what I mean? It's the people are coming in and say, "Oh, can you get this in for me?" Like, and it's one off, and you're like, "I've got to spend £300 just to get this one product in." Like, you know what I mean? It's a balancing act, you know what I mean? But we know customers want it, and it'd be great if we could have everything, so they won't go to any other American company or German company. You know what I mean? They'll come to us, but we understand that people like variety as well. Like, you know what I mean? So. But yeah, I mean, we're still relatively unknown, to be fair, because, you know, I mean, we don't do a lot of shows. We only do. This is the most one this year. We're doing 10 this year, which is, I think, it's the biggest we've ever done.
So where are you going this year? Obviously, you've done RAILpeople. Did you do Doncaster as well?
Yeah, we've done Doncaster. We got Bristol at the end of this month.
Yes, I will be there as well. Yeah,
you're going as well. Yeah. We've got Bristol. We're doing RailX, which is in May. We are doing a Stafford show.
Right, yes, my local show.
Yeah, there are. So we're doing that one as well. Sorry, mate.
That's fine.
We're doing that one as well.
Stafford's great, and the new venue is super.
Big and it's huge.
Yeah, it is. And for me, it's 25 minutes from home. It is just easy and it's fun and the people are nice and it's one of those shows where you can drive the vehicle into where your stand is to set up, and
bliss. That's gonna be bliss for us, because it took us 3 hours to set up at RAILpeople. Normally it used to take an hour, but because we had all the grid walls behind us wrapped, but it looked naff. It didn't represent, because obviously we're a manufacturer, so we have to go that, look at us type of thing, so so that's why we went to change. So 3 hours to setting up, but that was the first time we ever set that stand up, so we're hoping it'll be a little bit quicker now next time.
So you said Stafford, and then where after Stafford?
We're going to get Great Electrical Train Show.
Yes, it's the first year that I'm not going this year. It's been a horrible.
You were there last year, though, weren't you?
Yeah, and it's my best show of the year, but there's been a horrible clash that I can't avoid this year, and so I'll be in Germany at the time instead. But
I don't know what you mean. So Germany, I'd rather be in Germany. Trust me.
I'd rather be in Milton Keynes, to be honest. But,
and then obviously then we got Wally. So we did Wally last year for the first time. We did Wally before, but we were on the Pico stand. We were demonstrating on the Pico stand, and they loved us there, because obviously we drove the crowd. Because of the demo. Yeah. We get crowds upon crowds of crowds. But last year was our first year of doing it, and it was phenomenal. Well, absolutely fantastic. We got people coming up and just saying, best demo they've ever seen, best products they've ever bought. And again, like I said, it's two humble boys from South Wales. That started something, and now we rival in the big boys. We're now starting to. We're trying to get our brand out there. We're trying to be known. I know we've been going 13 years, but really, it's only the last 4 years that we've started to go get proper branding, because we were set up for Amazon and eBay. If you know what I mean, it wasn't set up for now we want to push our brand out there, and now we want to take on the likes of WWScenics and Noch. We want to be their thorn in their side. We're a British company at the end of the day, and it's British made as well. And everybody knows that if it's British made, it's good quality, and we're keeping that flag flying as well. So
I'm hesitating to say something here, but I'm going to say it anyway.
And pause there. Don't worry, you'll get to hear exactly what I've got to say in just a moment. But I wanted to touch on the fact that WWScenics is available at RailStuff.com. We're incredibly thrilled to be one of WWS's chosen retail partners. And that means that we've got a range of their products available on site for you to pick up today. And we are even offering the static grass applicator, the micro version, for just £55 at the moment. Head over to rail-stuff.com, search for WWScenics, all one word, and you will see the full range of stuff right there. Now, let's go find out what I had to say, and let's carry on that conversation with Martyn.
I'm hesitating to say something here, but I'm going to say it anyway. You are also much more fairly priced than a brand that you mentioned just a moment ago, and that's one of the biggest things that I find is that actually, the model railway hobby, people do spend money. We know that. You look at the price of locos and people are still buying them, and people will spend money, but at the same time, things have got to be reasonable and fair, and you see some. I do a hell of a lot of the plaster cloth rolls, and I see certain brands in certain stores with a roll of plaster cloth for just shy of £10, and I'm selling them at £1.95 a roll, and I'm still making good margin on that. So sometimes there are brands out there that will take the mickey a little bit. So how do you find that balance from your point of view of, obviously growing a business in a healthy way, and therefore making money so that you can pay your staff and so that you make something out of it at the end of the day, but doing things the right way?
It's challenging. It is challenging, because you look at the, we'd love to charge the prices of the bigger brands, or the more established brands, should I say, because then obviously it solves a lot of problem with us, because I'm not going to say that we are a cash-rich company. We're not. It's challenging. And we don't want to charge ridiculous amount of money for where people essentially see it as a is secondary. You know, what I mean, you build a layout to run your locos on, don't you? At the end of the day, you know what I mean, and then the rest of it used to be secondary. It's now, I think, this fact that static grass is being pushed, the way it's being pushed now, and the way that we are sort of representing and ambassadors for it. Yeah, you know what I mean, and teaching the techniques, not just saying, "Oh, static grass, you buy that and off you go." Developing the correct products like the applicators, and I mean, we're the only company that's got 4 different types of applicators. Yeah, you know what I mean. There's no other company's got it. Why? Because we're not just out there for just to say, "Oh, there, where buy that, it'll do it all." We're modelers, like I've said. We're developed by modelers, and I'm a diorama modeler. Hands up, I know nothing about railways. Yeah, you know what I mean. I've never built a railway in my life. You know, layout. I like them. I like, you know what I mean, like the look at them and like the work on it. But for me, I'm the diorama modeler, right? I love the detail, the intricate detail, the tiny little detail. If you take a photo of something and you see that it looks so real in miniature, for me, that blows my mind. I think, wow, that's incredible. You know what I mean? Because that little patch the local will go past it, or it's a diorama or something like that to show it, and people just go, "I'm blown away by that. That's phenomenal. That is, you know what I mean, that's just made it." And the logo becomes secondary. You know what I mean? Because it goes past it, and everybody's still, you know what I mean, they're looking again, they stop, and they look again, the logo's gone. That's an achievement for me.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to get across with our products.
Yeah.
The balancing act is massive, because this the environment that the world is in right now is through COVID, every day we get a price increase. You know what I mean? And the biggest challenge at the moment, and probably you were going to say the exact same thing, is carriage. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? We're trying to ship to Germany. I mean, we've got a company that's based in Germany. We've got a Tamsin who runs TLA for us. Yeah, that's our German-based company. So we get products out to there. Yeah, so we ship them out to Tams, and then she distributes from there. You know what I mean? So, but we've got luckily we've got that. But you know, I mean, shipping to Spain or Italy and stuff like that, it could be or America, and we got a massive American following. People love our products out there. We had a review of somebody did a review of static grass and applicators, and they voted ours as the best on the market, and that's the one to buy, and blah blah blah. And you can build a cheapie, but we still recommend you buy. And they went for the Grand, which is the biggest one there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you know what I mean. It is. But we can't get it out there. That's the frustrating thing about this world at the moment.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, there's bigger companies or sort of third-party companies, which is, you know, I mean, which are charging what they want, what they like.
Yeah.
So,
and it's even the shipping within the UK. There's challenges. I mean, the cost keeps going up and up and up. You know, just Monday there was a increase on prices for Royal Mail. They've all gone up again now, and you know, I ship everything with Royal Mail, but that's a challenge in itself, because then I have a can of aerosol spray, and it's like, well, how am I sending it? And you know, and it is a challenge. And then, you know, I won't make any kind of political argument here, but there have been other challenges put in our way for shipping within the European Union now. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I had an order for £8 from the Republic of Ireland. Obviously, they paid shipping on top of that as well. So, great. And I want to ship to wherever people want to buy stuff. Yeah. But for an £8 order, the paperwork took me over half an hour. And I'm one person by myself, and you know, it's becoming harder and harder to do all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure bricks and mortar retailers are like, well, you know, there you go.
100%. You know what I mean? But as a manufacturer, we want to put our products across the world.
Yeah.
We feel that we got like a really, really good product, and we want everybody to work it. And it's unfair it's down to the customer at the end of the day. It's unfair on the customer that, you know, I mean, that wants to buy our products, that have to pay. It's not us that's charging it. We still have to cover our costs.
Yeah.
All because of greedy cats, like you said, because of Brexit. But we won't say anything more about that.
You said it, not me.
yeah, that's it. We want to cut it. So yeah, it's shocking. It's been it's challenging in the end of the day. I mean, we'll get through it, and you know, what I mean, and I believe that, you know, what I mean, we as a company, and you know, what I mean, and you guys, and everybody will get through it. Like, you know, what I mean, and hopefully, at the end of it, then it will be Great Britain again. Like, you know, what I mean, so fingers crossed.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Well, let's move on to something slightly less intense. So you said railways wise, you've never built a layout or anything like that before. So how did WWScenics sort of pivot itself into the world of railways as well? Was it a case of, you know, you saw what guys in the railway world do and thought, hang on, there's a position for our stuff there, or was it always part of the story?
So we were like I said, we started doing the little bits of stuff for wargamers, and we did kits for wargamers. Mark is very, very good at research. He's phenomenal at research. You know what I mean? He's relentless with it. You know what I mean? And he done research and found products, and you know what I mean. And on what I'm good at, I'm the product developer. So I look at something and go, I can make a product out of that, which will, you know what I mean, which will complement this product and that product I've already got. And then Mark will find that product and supersize it, like, you know what I mean, and bring it in. Where I'll just look at something small, Mark will get the bulk in, and then we can sell it to the public, like, you know what I mean, so to the customers. We did a show in a place called Crynant, right, which is Crynant Colliery, right? Okay, it's still there now. There's a museum there, right? And we did a show in the museum there as a railway show, right? And we took out little products, what little products we had. And it was a tiny little show, you know what I mean? There's a couple of hundred people through the door over the weekend, you know what I mean? So it was tiny. Like, we were on small little tables. I had a little demo table like that, and people are gonna probably slate me for this, right? But we used to sell the fly swats.
Whoa!
Stop! But then I redeveloped it, and there's everybody knows that the fly swats are not applicators, and since the research I've done now, but I used to demo that with that, and that was our first ever show. And from there, we realized that the demand for bigger bags, more of work. I mean, we were educating them people of, you know what I mean, how to use static grass, because back then I started layering as well. Yeah, using a 2 and a 4 mil. We obviously found suppliers then that could give us a lot more range, you know what I mean, in length. Bring the colours in, and then Mark and I spent a year driving around taking photos of fields, and I'm lucky in Wales, you know what I mean. Let's face it,
you don't have to go far for fields.
You know what I mean? If the Welsh can't make any grass, nobody can. You know what I mean? So we were matching colours, and I mean, we name our grass spring, summer, autumn, winter, patchy, dead, but don't stick to that, if you know what I mean. It's light browns, dark browns, greens, you know, and that type of thing. You know what I mean? But we just name it so people got a sort of a picture in their mind how they want to do things, so make it easy for themselves. You know what I mean? But all our grasses could totally blend in together anyway. And yeah, so it was just literally that show. Then we did it again the next year. Then Swansea show came along and asked us to do that. So that was a bigger show, and we went there. We started putting bigger bags into there. We started looking at trying to get some sort of retail packaging going. And I remember once Mark designed our first packaging. It was awful. It was red and yellow. It was awful like that, right? We had our first trade customer. I won't mention any names, and we sent him some samples and stuff like that, and nothing back for weeks. So I emailed the bloke. I said, "Oh, look," I said, "you know, I mean, how are you finding the products? Would you like to take some?" And he literally turned around and he said, "You know, I mean, product lovely, retail packaging, beep." Yeah, you know, what I mean, pants. He said, you know, what I mean, so no, and you know, we were like, I can't believe he said that. You know, calm down a bit. I then went and tried to redesign the first proper retail packaging. So then we started that, and then we got a bit of trade customers. We started doing bigger shows. I think we did. We developed the Grand, the applicator. Yeah, you know what I mean. So to take on the I think it was the Grassmaster at the time. Yeah, you know what I mean. So to be rivals of that, and that just went whoosh. And from there, it just went whoosh. obviously, and I mean, war gamers will take small little pots and small things where railway guys, you know, I mean, their model is 10 foot, 20 foot tall, long, you know what I mean. So we decided to go into that, and but now we class ourselves as a scenery company, not a railway scenery company. You know what I mean? We cover every aspect of modeling. You know, I mean, we do Doll's House. We got a customer that buys 1 mil flock for My Little Ponies.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got we do the car trade, car flocking. Yeah, we do card making. It's everywhere. You know, I mean, architects. Yeah, we are covered a lot. Like, you know what I mean? So it's good. It's growing. It's slowly growing. You know, I mean, we're trying to keep it. We don't want to go bang because you like if that's when it kills a company. Like, you know what I mean? But we're trying to push our brand out there. So something like this, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is great because it gets a chance to sell our company and tell our brand, like our brand story, like, I mean, because it is interesting. Like, I mean, it is a thing. Oh, a quick plug for me, but yeah, if you want, June the 3rd. June the 3rd is our opening. Is our officially open day for the shop. Yeah, you know, I mean, if anybody's local or anybody wants to travel down and stuff like that, we're opening June the 3rd. It's on a Saturday. We're gonna have I'm trying to get a few people down as well, but secret at the moment. But we'll release it before, you know, I mean, way before then. But yeah, we've had a sort of a soft launch just for the local area. We haven't even told the newspapers and stuff around here yet, so it's only a few people who know. We've had about 100, 150 people come in, you know what I mean? And all we've done is social media. We haven't, you know what I mean? So it's grown from there. You know what I mean? But June the 3rd is when we're going to go sing about it, like, you know what I mean? So,
right, so just clarify exactly the date for us. June the
3rd is a Saturday. Yeah, and it'll be open from 9 o'clock onwards till about 4 or 5 o'clock.
Okay, and where can they find the details of how to
details
get there?
will be put out on the will be put out on the newsletters, onto our social media. We'll put a banner onto the website. Yeah, you know what I mean, to leading up to it. So roughly around probably mid-May, we'll start to sing about it when it's going to work, and then all the postcodes and all that will be something there. We've got free parking, loads of parking on a Saturday as well, providing the Swans are not playing. So if they're playing, then it's mayhem around here. But no, it should be. There's plenty of parking.
I can't remember whether I've got a show that weekend or not, but if I don't, I might have to try and take a trip down myself as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, he'll be most welcome because, you know, I mean, Mark's will be cooking pizzas.
Okay, I'm there.
He's going on a course. He's going on how to make a pizza course.
Oh, bless him.
He's got one of those gas, the wood fired ones as well. Yeah, so, you know, I mean, he's full on to it. Like, you know, I mean, he can't barbecue, but he can make pizzas.
He strikes me as the kind of person who doesn't do things by halves.
Oh no, he throws himself into it for, you know, I mean, he's a police officer for 15 years.
You know what? Now you've said that to me. If you had have said to me at Ali Pally when we were chatting, what did this chap used to do for a living? I think I probably would have said police officer.
Copper. He was, yeah, and he was good copper apparently as well. Like, I mean, so copper. I mean, I did 6 years in the British Army. Yeah, you know what I mean. So I got a military background. I'm a vet as well. You know what I mean. So I did tours of Ireland and a tour of Bosnia. So we're both sort of institutionalized
service folk, yeah.
And we are chalk and cheese, yin and yang. But it works so good.
So how did you get to know each other then? Because the start of your story was about him texting you about going to Warhammer. So that means that you knew each other already.
Yeah. So I moved out of Morrison up to a place called Cumgos. It's about half hour away from Walcott, up in the Cuds in the country. It's a lovely little place. And then Mark bought the house on the main road. And there's another chap of us, Gordon, who's our good mate. He lived literally down the coast. It's like a triangle. And we all sort of it was a birthday party of Gordon's daughter, I think, and he invited us. And we all went up there as a family. The whole families went up there. And the three of us were in the back. Well, they were having the party. The three of us were in his front room playing Xbox. And that's how we got to know each other. So I knew Mark a few years before you know, I mean, before all this came about, like, you know, I mean, before I had this cancer, to be fair, we used to go out down the local pub, or we'd have, you know, we'd have Xbox. We're always on the Xbox, you know, I mean, on every night near enough, gaming, you know, I mean, so it was all of us together, like, you know, I mean, and then Mark and I just sort of, if I moved out to Cum Ghost now, and Mark has now, and probably if we didn't have this, we wouldn't have been, you know, I mean, it would have just sort of drifted apart.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, as you do as friends, we would probably still talk to each other and stuff like that. But no, he's my brother now from another mother. Like, you know, I mean, I love him to bits, and we both, you know, I mean, really, it's different. You know what I mean? It's like you've got mates with me and him. I know we sort of go through the pains and the stresses and the alarms at 3 o'clock in the morning going on your phone, and you're like, oh right, okay. So yeah, we are really close. Like, and I mean, we are, we're brothers really, as opposed to, you know, I mean, because and it's sort of a proud moment because you've built what we've built. Yeah, you know, I mean, on a shoestring budget as well. You know, what I mean, like I said, 40 quid we spent. You know, what I mean, and the company's been paying for itself ever since. But it's been, you know, what I mean, we've had to literally tighten the belts and all sort of thing. And I'm sitting here pleading poverty. We're not in poverty, no, by no means. But it's still, you know, we haven't got the budgets of the big guys, like, you know what I mean. And we want to tackle the big guys, like, you know what I mean, because like you said, we want to be fair. It's not, you know what I mean. It's not we genuine people, and we genuine modeling people as well. You know what I mean. And we want it to be fair, like, you know what I mean. So yeah. So it's.
So how do you get from where you are now to tackling those big guys? What do you feel is like the biggest step change that WWS needs to make?
Brand awareness, I think. You know what I mean, getting our name out there more. We're spending a lot more money on websites development and SEO and all that. You know what I mean, to try and reach the bigger audience. We're trying to get a contact or a distributor out in America. Yeah, you know what I mean, that could hold our products out there, because they want it. Is the demand is there now? Our products are there, but they're under Pico. Yeah, you know what I mean. And some people don't understand that. Although that our brand is on there, you know, some people don't realize that it's our stuff, and they want our stuff. You know what I mean? They want WWScenics. So WWScenics brand is starting to go that far above Pico Scenes brand, as the grass, like, you know what I mean. So yeah, it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of, you know what I mean, hard work, nose to the grindstone. You know what I mean, just literally plugging away, doing YouTubes, doing our social media. We're constantly on social media trying to get the following. It's hard. It is hard, you know what I mean, because people have been sort of conditioned to that company, that company, that company, that company. You know what I mean? And we are trying to say, well, no, look what we've got, and look what we can do, and look what you can do with our products if you follow this sort of method. Like, you know what I mean? And it's not. We've had our negativity against the company is tiny. Yeah, our returns are 0.0%. They're tiny. There's nothing. They're under 1%.
Yeah.
Our applicators hardly ever go wrong, and if it is, there's like the switch has gone faulty because a bit of blade of grass has gone in or something. It's very very, very rare that we get product returned. You know what I mean? So because we don't want to offer, dare I say, crap. You know what I mean? We want to, you know, because otherwise you just get it coming back to you.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, I can't handle that. You know what I mean? We got some somebody on the phone and they give any grief, and you're like, well, okay.
Well, not just that, but the costs that are involved in processing returns and all that kind of stuff as well. You always want to avoid that.
But you want a happy person, don't you? At the end of the day, you want somebody to lay that product down on there, because at the end of the day, they spend a fortune, like you said, they spend a fortune to get it to that stage. Yeah, for them to put your products on, and you're like, I don't want them to put a product on there if they're going to go, this is crap, this is pants, I want to rip it up. You know what I mean? I'd be devastated for that, because I know that, you know what I mean, I'm spending hours doing a model. I want it to look the best it can. You know what I mean? I don't want to put something on there and go, do you know what, that looks horrific. You know what I mean? And that's what's always in my mind, because I think it's because of the modeling side, because I am a modeler. You know what I mean? And the first passion is modeling. The second passion is talking, as you can tell.
perfect podcast guest, really. Somebody who's not afraid of talking. All right. Well, let's just ask some advice. So let's just say somebody has got one of your applicators and they've put themselves down a nice base of 2mm patchy grass to start off with, and they want to add some layers in so they're looking for something that looks a little bit sort of dirty and urban and not particularly bright and summery. So I assume you would recommend then a 4mm to add in some layer, and what would you stick with patchy?
If I may, first of all, is and I always get a sort of a gasp when I say this at shows, right? Is that you've got to start off with the proper tools, right? Okay, in my eyes, right? And static grass does not like PVA, right? Full stop. Okay, PVA is a rubber-based glue, right? And it over time shrinks. It's in constant state of movement. It shrinks. It peels. It's too thick to start off with, so you have to dilute it down. Yeah, when you dilute it down, then it moves even more. So when you put that solid base down as a base in grass, that you get that movement, and then in time you see it peeling up. Where I say that you want to get the best products down for the person because you don't want them to ruin the layout, and it starts to peel up and stuff like that. I don't want to give them the advice to say, "Oh, use PVA," and then they say, "Martin, you told me to use PVA," and now it's peeling up like that. So that's why we use that plastic base glue, right? The basing glue. It is phenomenal. It's not just for static grass. It can be used for card. It can be used for MDF. It can be used for sticking down your flowers, sticking wallpaper, flock the wallpaper. You name it, it is, right? It's a good general purpose. Because it's so stable and it goes off really quick. You don't get that peel. You don't get that horrific at the end where it's popping up and stuff like that. So my first advice is make sure you use a plastic-based glue, not rubber-based.
Good news is this person in this example used some of the WWScenics basing glue.
Excellent. Okay. Right. So patchy, right? Again, so that's sort of the first rule of static grass, right? Is glues, making sure, right, that you've got a good base. The next bit of advice is glue, is another glue, right? Is static grass needs glue to work, right? If there's no glue there, it falls flat. And also, it's constantly moving that applicator, right? Okay, and again, on to the point of this, because the common mistake or the common questions that are coming back to us is my grass is laying flat. Yeah, I put a layer down, now it's laying flat. It's because they've over-applicated, which they cover the glue that's standing up, and then on top of that, it's falling flat because there's no glue there to stick it. So make sure that you get your layering spray in, which then gives it that fine coat of adhesive, which then allows the next layer to stand up. The next next rule of it then, or law, or whatever you want to call it, right, is color. Yeah, you have to have the colors. Yeah, not just greens, not just browns. You put a patchy down, you're gonna need a green in there to break it up, right? Otherwise it'll just it won't look like grass. It'll just look like a brown patch or a green patch. So I would add and this is working. I'd add a 2mm spring on top of that 2mm. Yeah, on top of that 2mm to keep it compact. If you want it dirty and stuff like that, but I wouldn't put it all over, little patches. Yeah, right. Then I'd add a 4mm dead.
Okay.
So then you start, and then in between, but sort of the when you put down the 2mm spring, it's very garish, it's very in your face. It's like that green, yeah?
Yeah.
It's in your face. So when you add the 4mm dead, you're then bringing down that color a little bit, but not enough not to see it. Yeah. You'll see it, and you'll see that work on it. Then you can add some dirty foliage. Yeah, you can add maybe a bit of dirt, a bit of our dry earth. Yeah, a bit of weathering powder. You can airbrush it if you want to. Yeah, There's products out there that I haven't got yet, which I'm developing. Yeah, which is earth tones. You can put mud on there. Yeah, our muds and stuff like that. You can put our muds on there, right? But then try and finish off, because grass will always grow through the rubble. It'll always grow through. So a bit of ballast, a bit of ballast. Dirty, a little bit of fine ballast up if you want to, with a bit of weathering powder. Sprinkle that over, because you'll get that. You'll get stone rubble, leaf litters, any of the type of that, right? but then you want to finish off with maybe something like a wild meadow 6mm or a wild meadow 4mm, because grass will always grow through the rubble and stuff like that. So you still, but then you gently put that on, because you don't want to cover it. You only want the strands to come through and the color to come through a little bit. Basically, that, you know what I mean? That's for you, that, isn't it?
It is, yeah. For anyone who's been following on YouTube, I'm building a very small diorama that's based on a charity build of a 3D printed shed. And I'm now trying to build the scenery around it a little bit. So, yeah, I've got a 2mm patchy down, and I've started to scratch my head about what to do next. So I now know, and thankfully I can listen again to this podcast, so I can listen as I go along.
The trick to starting grass, right, is not to overthink it. Right, the trick to starting grass is not to be Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect. Right, it is to be as rough and random and as off the cuff as you possibly can. Yeah, people is probably hearing me doing demos. I always say, if you make a mistake, it turns into a good idea, right? Because you create in nature at the end of the day, and there's only one person that can say that it's wrong, right? And that's Mother Nature. She's never going to fly through the window and say that's wrong.
No.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You create in nature. You can be. This is where you can be. You don't have to think to be creative. You know what I mean. I'm not a special modeler when it comes to scenery because of because of the product, and it's because of my skill. It's because of the products.
Yeah,
the products lend themselves. You know, I mean, an applicator, you have to have an applicator, full stop, right? It has to be a hopper style applicator, right, where the charge is behind the grass. Yeah, it stands up in the pot, off it goes, right. Again, do not need to stick a pin in your layout. You ruin it. You know what I mean. Hold it close to the hopper. It's an urban myth. Years and years ago, when people were doing the fly swats, they said you've got to charge the glue, so you put a pin in the glue. It's a load of nonsense. You don't need to, right? Okay. The hopper, you can hold the clip by the hopper, close to the hopper. It works better. It compacts it a little bit better, right? Not that much. I notice it. You know what I mean? Some guys that don't use all the time might not notice it, right? Okay. But yeah, it's all about just chucking it down. Nothing's going to be wrong. No color against another color is going to be wrong, because there's so much reference out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to be true. It's going to be true. It'll be static grass. So there's two products I would say that revolutionized model railways. I think one of them is DCC. Yeah, I believe. You know what I mean? That's what people are telling me. And the other one's static grass.
Yeah, because
that is probably the most biggest impact that you can have to putting down on a layout than any other product, because it's instant whoa.
Yeah.
And again, you can, with our products, you can go start to finish at that first helping. Yeah, you can go start it, finish it off if you want to, walk away, job done. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And you know, I mean, I've always been a static rather than scatter kind of guy. I don't get scatter as grass.
No.
But you know, my first introduction to it was a puffer bottle, and I used a puffer bottle, and I was like, okay, that looks all right, but maybe I'll try one of these fly swat things. So I got one off of eBay, and it was terrible, did nothing, and I couldn't understand it. So I went back to the puffer bottle, and actually for the first kind of stuff I was doing, the puffer bottle was absolutely fine. And then I got myself a hopper style applicator. Wonder where I got that from. As part of my first trade order, I thought, right, I'll get one for myself as well. And the first time I used it with the basing glue, I sat back and went, oh, I get it now. And it was night and day difference. I mean, the puffer bottle actually does a better job than the fly swats, and he's not bad for you know, somebody who just wants to try it for the first time. But the applicators,
yeah, the difference. So people just work on it. I mean, the fly swats were out there, and they did the job when they were out there, right? But the problem is that the power's in the wrong place. Yeah, right. Okay, where you look at a hopper style applicator, the power's at the back of it, right? And it's pushing it out through the grid. Now, there's some hopper style applicators out there that they've got a wire that goes to the grid. Again, wrong. Okay, the power is your grass then is sitting on where the power is. Because it's a negative charge, it's pushing it away from the power. It's pushing it that way, not that way. Yeah. So if you can imagine the hopper style ones with the wire that goes to the grid, that grid is electrified, which is then trying to push it back up the hopper, not through. And that's why they said the positive end, right, which is you clip, to put it underneath in a pin to try and draw it through, to attract it, to draw it through, because it's doing this. No, I don't want to go. I want to go that way, not that way. Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's why it's important that you get a hopper-style applicator that with the power is at the back. So it's a detachable head, can come away totally from that. There's no power in that head whatsoever, and the power is sitting at the back of it. Yeah, hence that, you know, I mean, the three big boys that do the applicators, all their powers is at the back.
Yeah,
I've done extensive. You can imagine extensive workout. So again, electricity. So again, static charge is a charge. This is me showing off my knowledge. Yeah. So static charge is a charge that breaks on your skin, on the top of your skin. So like a car, you get a belt off a car or woolly jumper. Yeah, that's 40,000 volts. Yeah, that's the shock you get off a jumper.
Wow.
Ours are 15,000 volts. So it's not as bad. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just it wakes you up. Well, I prod the staff every morning. So. I don't. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, so you know what I mean? You want to have that charge at the back of it. Yeah, you know what I mean? To push it through. Otherwise, you know what I mean? It doesn't work. You know what I mean? So what I was saying. So yeah, so that's what a static charge. An electrical charge is something that enters your body and goes through your body to ground.
Yeah.
Where static doesn't need to ground; it just grounds onto your skin. That's why you get fried when you get electric charge. You know what I mean? People, the things that we put on there, disclaimers we put on there for, in case you get questions for this, and anybody out there is listening that wants to, we put disclaimers on if you've got a pacemaker. Okay. We put it on there because there is no research being done for static charge against pacemakers. Yeah, you know, nothing. There's nothing. I've asked doctors and stuff like that. I've gone to colleges and said, look, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Can you give me it? There's nothing be done for it against it. And it's not going to because, you know, we're such a low demand for something like that. You know what I mean? So to cover ourselves, we just put it on there. You know what I mean? We say, look, go and speak to your doctor just in case. But the chances of getting an electric charge from a hopper style, you know what I mean, unless you stick your finger in, hold the crocodile clip and switch the button on, then you deserve to get electric charge if you do that. Yeah, you're not going to get a shock from it. You know what I mean? No. So that's sort of that's another frequently asked question that we get. You know what I mean? So hopefully I'll cover that now with the podcast as well for the guys that listen as well.
Well, that's all fascinating stuff. And I have to say, if look, any of you go to any shows where Martyn is there with the stand, go and watch the demo. It is fantastic. I've never seen somebody brush basing glue onto something so quickly. You can tell you do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah, I've done thousands.
But no, it's great to watch. And as Martyn says, if you go sticking your fingers in things with crocodile clips, then it's your own fault, I'm afraid. Pretty much. Okay, so look, we've actually gone like beyond the hour that we said we were going to talk, but that's great because it's been a fascinating chat. I suppose just to close things out, how do you see the state of the model hobby industry at the moment? I mean, I know that's not a small question to close out with, but you know, we know that there are challenges around costs and the cost of living for our customers as well, but are we in a healthy state, do you think? So,
perfect question to end, I suppose, as well, right? Okay, so we've done, I started modeling with Martyn, right? YouTube through COVID, okay? Only because, I mean, I was going to work, but it gave me an excuse to stay home because I was doing it in the house at the time, you know what I mean? So I said, look, I'll stay home and I'll do modeling. And I did a live every Wednesday, just modeling, just one teaching, just modeling, just showing people. I'll talk to people what I was doing, but I was just modeling so people could come on through the day to break the day up. And I'm sort of going how healthy it is. And I mean, we did a page then on mental health and modeling, right? It's massive, mental health and modeling. And I'm contacting colleges and I'm contacting, charities and saying to them, look, you need to not just say that, we go for counselling and stuff like that. Go for modelling. I work with the veterans in a place called Llanelli. Yeah, and all we do is send all our seconds to them, right? You know what I mean? Where they then get the chance to model and stuff like that. Because for PTSD, you know what I mean, that type of thing, phenomenal. Modeling, once you focus on you focus, every single modeler out there will focus on that, and everything else is gone. Perfect. You know what I mean? Woof. As for the state of the hobby, it's going like that. It is literally going like that. I think COVID helped.
And for those listening that can't see Martyn, he's pointing in the upwards direction.
Upwards. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's going in upwards direction. It's getting stronger and stronger each year. We get a lot more youngsters coming into it. I mean, I think the youngsters are getting fed up with Xboxes. They start to go full circle again. They want to get their hands into it. I would love like a course or it be part of a education system for modeling, you know what I mean, to show, you know what I mean, it's massive. It's not just, guys, you don't create a model, you create art. It's art, full stop.
You create a story as well.
Of course it is. You're doing something, you're creating either historical or futuristic, or sci-fi, if you do, you know, from war game point of view, that type of thing, right? You know what I mean? Well, you've got steampunk and what are locals out there now? Yeah, you know what I mean? It's massive, and it is literally going from strength to strength. The modeling industry has been in a better, stronger position now than it ever has. I would say, I would generally say that now, and there's a lot more people who are prolonging their modeling as well, like, you know what I mean? So, or serial building, you know what I mean? Yeah, for me personally, strength to strength, and the fact that it's on, we are now starting, especially us, we are now sort of ambassadors for it to become mental health, to help you with your mental health. You know what I mean? That is massive for me. That is because it helps me. You know what I mean? It helps me. I got a traumatic experiences, like, you know what I mean? And whenever I'm like down or something like that, I sit there and either paint a figure, or lose myself in a model. I'm going over there because I got the model right there.
I'm so glad that you said what you did about mental health. You know, full disclosure, I got into modelling through wanting to look after my own mental health. I had some issues myself, and you know, I actually spent some time with my dad, and we built a layout, and it was incredibly therapeutic. You know, I mean, where I am right now, I can help my dad with his, but I haven't got space for a layout myself. So I now do a little bit of diorama modelling instead. Tends to be railway themed, but all of that is actually just about my own mental health. And I'm a huge supporter of the fact that hobbies are so important for us. I mean, I'm sat talking to you in my sim racing rig right now, and that's my other hobby that is about my mental health. Because I get in here, like tonight, I'll be racing some Le Mans type cars around Sebring with 30 other people from around the world, and we'll be having a chat and having a beer whilst doing it, and you know, I will just completely zone out of everything else and be in that moment. And I think hobbies are incredibly important.
It's so rewarding as well. That's the thing. Yes. That's the difference of it. You know, I mean, if you
my racing isn't rewarding, not when I finish last. Modelling is rewarding.
Modelling is rewarding. But if you think about it, like, I mean, some of the things out there for mental health, and I'm not saying that none of them are good. You know, what I mean, every one of them is good. Like, you know what I mean, but with modelling, you create something at the end of it, which makes you proud. Yeah. Which again puts another level of that mental health, looking after that mental health. Massive for me, massive. There's an article on the website about it, and I'm still talking to charities now and trying to be the ambassador and say, look, you know what I mean, it's there. This modelling is perfect, and railway modelling is on a massive scale.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, because there's so many. Diorama modelling is diorama modelling. You just build, you know what I mean, add a few things and it's there. When you build a layout, you're an electrician, you're a you know what I mean, you're a problem solver.
You're a civil engineer.
I mean? Civil engineer, you know what I mean. You look at you're doing so many different things and so many different trades, unbelievable. You know, I mean, for me, railway modelling is the most challenging. Yeah, that's the most challenging and probably the most. If I was going to finish off on I mean, I would do model rail modelling, just to get into the wiring and stuff like that. You know, because I am a hands-on type of person. And stuff like that, you know, but I did tell a lie. I have built a small layout with Andy Hudson from Wally. We did it live on camera, but it's not finished yet. So
no layout is ever finished.
No, that's it. And I mean, I got people coming into me and modelers in there, and they talk about, so the people are doing this film or this TV series. And he said, you know, I mean, they just keep going. I said, mate, you could keep going for 20 years and it'd still never be finished.
No.
You know what I mean? It's constant. You know what I mean? You can change it. And the beauty about plug my products again, beauty about static grass is that you can just keep adding to it.
Exactly.
You can just change it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So for me, the state of the hobby is in a good place. Yeah, and I think it'll go strength to strength.
Well, what a fantastically positive way to finish our chat. Look, Martyn, thank you so much for giving up your time to come and chat. It's a great story you've got, great products you've got. Obviously, you can get them from WWScenics. Selfless plug from my side. You can also get a bunch of WWScenics stuff from RailStuff.com. And coming to shows near you all around the country. I think I've got 35 shows this year in total.
Whoa, that's a lot of shows, mate.
It is, yeah.
That's a lot of shows.
Yeah.
That's half a year. That's over half a year.
Yeah. And the missus will point that out as well. Because I end up working on this Monday to Friday, plus I do some contract work as well in some other stuff. And then I get to the weekend and I'm still working.
Still working. Yeah. But then you get to meet some wonderful people, like, you know what I mean?
I do.
You know what I mean? In the hobby as well, you know what I mean? So
I do indeed.
That's yeah, you know, there's some weird and wonderful people out there, you know what I mean? So
yeah, and the variety as well. My last two shows were in the grandeur of Alexandra Palace, and then last weekend I was in a small welfare community centre in Nottingham, and you know that variety is fantastic. Love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will let you get on. I know you've got some kitchen shopping to do later on, and probably some work to do before then as well. I've definitely got some work to be doing. But thanks once again for the chat, and I guess I'll see you in Bristol.
You will. Yes, seek us out. Well, I'll seek you out. I'll come and visit the stall and give you some hints and tips.
Great. I might even bring my small diorama with me so you can take a look.
Do that.
It's A4 size, so
brilliant.
Yeah,
shove it on the stand because people love to look at the, you know what I mean, at the work. I take a diorama with me for the realistic trees.
Yes,
and people love it. You know what I mean? People love looking at it.
And the next thing I'm working on is I'm just about to start, and I haven't told anyone this yet, but I'm just about to start another very small diorama that's going to be based on a scene from a heritage railway that is celebrating the King's coronation.
Cool.
Because that's you know, I keep going to say, that's a once in a lifetime event, but actually, given his age, it's probably not going to be a once in a lifetime thing for most of us. But you know what I mean? It's still historical, isn't it? So I'd like to mark the occasion with something.
It's a king. It's the first king that we've had, anyway.
Absolutely. Look, I'll let you go. Thank you very much for chatting, and we will speak to you in Bristol.
Bye, guys. Thank you very much.